Good afternoon. Hello on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. How are you? I'm Brian Manning, and you're watching the Asylum Answer Show, where we answer your questions about asylum in the United States. So I'm a U.S. asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. So I used to be an asylum officer with the government. I was at the Houston Asylum Office. I worked for 11 years for the government's two main agencies for refugee and asylum affairs. But now, as a private lawyer, I get to advocate for people to help them win their asylum case. All right. I want to answer your questions about asylum in the United States. Say hello, TikTok, what's going on? YouTube, good to see you. We already got Velvet Versa up here saying hello, Brian. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. We got folks coming in on TikTok. Benigno joined Jessica01. I'm LGBTQ from Iraq. Oh, Waleed, we should talk. We know this case for sure. We have several clients in that position, and we've had success with those cases. We know this case well, Wahid. I'm not going to waste any time. Wahid, go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule a consultation with us so that we can talk in detail about your situation and tell you whether we think that we can help you. Listen, if you're a member from the LGBTQ plus community from Iraq, there's probably a good chance that we can help you and give you probably a really good chance to secure your future in America through asylum. That's why we exist. That's what we do all day, every day. So, I said that I'm an asylum lawyer, and my law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers. Have you noticed that other immigration lawyers don't call themselves asylum lawyers? Have you ever heard of one? Let me know in the comments if you know of one. I've never heard of another lawyer who says that they are an asylum lawyer or they have an asylum law firm. As far as I know, we're the only law firm that does that. Why? That's all that we do. Other immigration law firms a lot of them do all kinds of immigration: family-based immigration, employment-based immigration, investment-based immigration, all of this stuff. Listen, immigration law is complex, all right? A lot of people will tell you that it's one of the most complex areas of U.S. law. You can't do all of it really, really, really well. You can't be great, in my opinion, at all of immigration law out there. I want to be the best. I want my law firm to be the best in the world at what we do. And that's why we are laser focused on this narrow aspect of U.S. immigration law, which is asylum. It's what we're passionate about. It's what I think, in my opinion, what we know really, really well. It's what we do all day, every day. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. I want you to say hello and let me know where you're watching from. I love to see where you guys are at. Let me know in the comments, say hello. Let me know what city and state you're in right now, where you're joining us from on the Asylum Answers show. I'd love to see that. And I'm going to answer your questions. So you can start to leave your questions now in the comment box. But before I do that, I want to tell you that now is the time to take action on your asylum case. Listen, a lot of you have been waiting for your asylum interview. Thank you. A lot of you have been waiting for your asylum interview for multiple years. And a lot of you are sick of that wait. You're sick and tired of being in limbo, of not knowing what's going to happen, of not knowing whether you're going to get certainty and confidence around your future, your ability to stay safe and to stay here and build the life here that you've been dreaming of building. And that's got to be really hard. I'm sorry that you're in that position. The good news is that you might be able to take action to force the asylum office to give you your interview so that you can win your case, get your asylum approval, and then go on to get your permanent residency and then get your U.S. citizenship, okay? Listen, I talk all the time about this lawsuit called a Mandamus lawsuit. It's a lawsuit where you sue the government. You're asking a judge in a federal court to tell the asylum office, hey, you got to do your job. You got to give this person their interview because this delay in their case is unreasonable, okay? And it works. It works really, 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 really well. I bet in a second we're going to see Badru on YouTube, my friend Badru, who's going to tell us how great this Mandamus lawsuit is. He's on here all the time on YouTube on this live, singing the praises of the Mandamus lawsuit and graciously of my law firm. Because it works. Listen, our clients are loving this. We've been doing it a ton the last couple of years, and it works. It works extremely, extremely well. Listen, in general, The sooner that you can get your asylum case heard and get your interview and be able to explain the case and fight your case and get your decision, the sooner you can do that, the better. There's multiple reasons for that I'm not going to go into at this moment, but I do want to touch on one particular thing that is unique to this moment in time, and that's the Trump effect. Listen, a lot of my viewers like Donald Trump and want him to win the presidency. I can tell you this: it's going to be harder to win asylum if Trump wins, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get deported that would not be deported were Trump not to win the White House. So here's the thing: Trump is moving farther and farther and farther to the right and getting more and more extreme with regard to immigration. He knows that this is an issue that fires up his political base. He has calculated that talking a lot about this issue, reminding people about immigrants and immigration and asylum in particular, is something that's going to motivate the people that tend to support him to actually go out and vote, okay? Because fear is a strong motivator, and he's playing up the fear card and trying to paint immigrants as evil and scary and dangerous and bad to make people afraid, to motivate them to take action and go vote for him. We saw this with the Haiti thing, that saying that Haitians are eating cats in Springfield, Ohio, and dogs, which was a ridiculous lie. But what we've seen more recently that makes me especially worried about people who are thinking about applying for asylum, or maybe they've got an asylum case pending, is the links to which it looks like a Trump-Vance administration will go to try to keep people from getting asylum and to try to deport people. So recently, Donald Trump has said that he would end, not just end two programs through which people have been coming to the United States the right way, as people like to say, with permission, and then often they go on to apply for asylum. These two sort of routes are called through the CBP-1 application for people coming to the southern border. And there's another program that brings people come to the United States by airplane. The U.S. government does not pay for them at their own cost. They come, if they're from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, or Venezuela. A certain number of those people, 30,000 in total, each month can apply to come to the United States through a special parole program, and a lot of them do end up applying for asylum. But Trump has said not only that he's going to end these two programs that the Biden administration has started, but also that he would strip the parole status that they have from them. The people that are already here, that came the right way, that came legally on these two programs, and now they have permission to be here for a certain amount of time. Usually it's 2 years. Well, for one program, at least, it's 2 years. Trump is saying, no, we're going to take that away from you. And what happens when you get your status taken away? You get put in deportation proceedings if you don't have legal status. The government is trying to deport you. What happened? And furthermore, J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate, has said that people with temporary protected status, they're going to take that away too. They're going to strip that from you too. Okay. Another thing that, another status that people have that allows them to be here, gives them permission to be here. J.D. Vance is saying they're going to take it away from you. And if it's taken away and you don't have some other status, you're going to be put in deportation proceedings. So the point is this: the Trump-Vance ticket is saying we're going to go even farther. It's not just that we're going to make rules to make it hard to get asylum. Rather, they're saying we're going to find people who have status that's either based on parole or temporary protected status, and we're going to rip it away from them so that we can deport them. All right? That is a big deal. That is surprising. That is shocking. Even to hear it coming from someone like Donald Trump, I was surprised to hear it. So the point is, they're out to get you. They're going to be out to get you. If you're waiting for an asylum interview, you want to have your interview and get your decision before Donald Trump could possibly take over the White House. All right. That's January 20th is the date on which a new president will be sworn in, or new president, either Harris or Trump. And the polls are really close right now. Like it's kind of a dead heat. Like it could go either way. Harris might win or Trump might win. If Trump wins, yes, I believe it's going to be harder to win asylum in the United States, and I believe a lot more people are going to be getting deported. If you've had an asylum case pending for several years, you should sue the government, in my opinion. You should sue the government to force them to give you your interview and your decision so that you can win your case before a Trump regime possibly takes over and Trump administration, I should say, takes over and makes it a lot harder and tries to deport a lot more people. Now is the time, all right? There's never been a better time to try to move your case forward than right now. The good news is that if you initiate this process, this Mandamus lawsuit in the coming weeks, there's actually a decent chance that you will get your interview and your decision before January 20th. I'm doing this live on October 7th, November, December, January. You've got over 3 months, almost 3.5 months from today. And guess what? That's about the average time that we've been seeing for our clients to get their interview. It's actually, I would say, a little bit less than 3 months on average. It varies. There's no guarantees. Even if you have success with the Mandamus lawsuit, in the sense that the government says, oh, your lawyer negotiates with them and they end up saying, okay, we're not going to fight this to the end. We're going to give you the interview. It might not be for several months. It might be 6, 8, 9 months from now. But still, I'd rather have it sooner rather than later, even if it means 9 months from now. If you don't sue the government to force your interview, it's probably not going to be for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10. So even the worst case scenario of, in terms of success with the Mandamus lawsuit of, okay, they give you the interview, but it's not scheduled for several months out, that's still a win. It's still better for your chances of winning your case. It's better for your chances of securing your future in America through asylum. So if you've been waiting for your interview with USCIS for at least 3 years, everywhere in the country except for with the Los Angeles Asylum Office, if you've been waiting at least 3 years, then I think you should consider suing the government to force your interview. Los Angeles Asylum Office, we're telling people right now 5 years. Okay, it's a little bit different there. 5 years of waiting is the minimum for what we'll sue the government for people whose case is pending at the Los Angeles Asylum Office. At every other asylum office, we're saying 3 years. We've been having success at 3 years. All right. That's it. Now is the time to act. If you want to talk with us about this in more detail so that we can sort of, talk you through this step by step, like how this works, then I want you to make a consultation with us. All right. Schedule that right now, like literally right now. Go to winasylum.com, 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 to schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals so that we can talk in detail with you about your situation and tell you whether we think we might be able to help you. And if so, we're going to explain exactly what that will look like. What steps concretely are we going to take to give you the best possible chance of securing your future in America through asylum? I want to talk with you about that now. We're going to do that now. All right. That's what I wanted to say today. Let's go to the questions. We're going to start with TikTok. Usually we start with YouTube, but let's start with TikTok. Hey, Brian, what is the BRI? Oh, like Brian. Hi, Brian. What is the waiting time for a decision, please, after the substantive interview? So the question is, the question that we are getting, hold on, let me just, oh yeah, good to see you too. Thank you for being on. I appreciate that. The question is this: how long can you expect to wait to get your decision after you have your interview with USCIS at the asylum office? So listen, for most people who live near the asylum office, like a close drive, they tell you, oh, come back in 2 weeks to the office and we're going to hand you a letter that is your decision. So 2 weeks. If you live farther away or under certain other circumstances, they might tell you, don't come back. We're going to mail it to you. We can't tell you exactly when. It'll be at least 2 weeks, hopefully not much more, but we'll mail it to you. Now, listen, sometimes even for people that they tell to come back and pick it up in person, they'll call you like the day before or 2 days before and be like, oh, actually, don't come in. It's not going to be ready yet. We'll mail it to you later. Ultimately, it could be many weeks, honestly. It could be months. It could even be years. If you applied for asylum, 3 or more years ago, and you're waiting to get your decision after your interview, you can sue to force them to give you your decision. We should talk about that if that's you. All right? That's how that works. Let's go. Let's stay on TikTok. Do another TikTok question. All right. Chompira says, my case was dismissed in immigration court. What are the chances of winning it with USCIS? Good question. The question is this: what are your chances for success in winning an asylum case with USCIS if you apply with them after your case was dismissed from immigration court? Well, listen, the fact that your case was dismissed from immigration court doesn't have any bearing on your likelihood for success with USCIS, which is to say you're no more or less likely to win at USCIS because or after your case was dismissed. The two things have nothing to do with each other in terms of your chances for success. The question then is just, are you likely to win asylum at USCIS? And the answer is, well, the statistics say no. The approval rate is low at the asylum office. It's actually lower than immigration court in most cases. So it's hard. But listen, if you're proactive, if you actually take steps to put together the strongest case possible and you prepare intensively, then you can significantly raise your chances for success. All right. Go to winasylum.com if you want to talk about that with us. WINASYLUM.com. Winasylum.com. All right. All right. Let's head over to YouTube. We've got Velvet Versa saying hello, Brian. Hello, good to see you. We got Chance Podcast saying hello. We got good question. Velvet Versa says, after reviewing the application, has the asylum officer already made up their decision before they even see the applicant? Will this decision affect their judgment on the interview? Good question. So basically, let me restate it. Here's the question. Does the asylum officer actually make up their mind before you ever set foot in their office based just off the written materials in the case? Like, are they looking at your application and the other materials, your evidence, your declaration, and just being like, you know what, I already made up my mind, and they've already made a decision before you even get to tell them your story and explain your case in the interview? Sometimes it makes a huge difference. Listen, if you prepare your case well, and you have a great application, a great declaration, good evidence, a legal brief from your lawyer that connects the dots and shows how you meet all the asylum requirements, and they're citing to country conditions information and they're using it well, yeah, you can set the stage and increase your chances for success. I wouldn't say the officer's mind is going to be 100% made up. You still have to do a good job at your interview, but you can definitely help yourself by doing a great filing ahead of your interview. It's really important. Okay. In my office, we call this an asylum roadmap. We do things in a couple of phases. So the first phase is the application phase, where we submit the application. And at that time, we do not submit the other stuff, the declaration, the evidence, and the legal brief. We don't do that at the same time we apply. We apply, submitting what is required to apply for asylum. And then we take a little bit more time, because it takes time. You want to do this carefully and thoughtfully and well to develop the case and create a strong case on paper. And for us, that means a declaration or personal statement from the applicant that we work on together, evidence that we're going to make a list of evidence we think you should try to get in your case, and you're going to get whatever you can. And then third is the legal brief that we write in my office, where we explain exactly why you're qualified for asylum. And I do that based on my experience as a former asylum officer. Here's a little insight into the asylum office. After every asylum interview, the officer has to write what is called an assessment, where they have to explain, here's the facts of the case, here's my decision, here's why, like here's my reasoning for my decision. And there's actually like a set format, like a template they have to use for that every single time. And it's like a stock sort of template that they use. And their supervisor has to approve it. They have to read it and they have to agree with it or approve it for it to become the final decision. Well, now as an asylum lawyer, I use basically that same format, that same template when I write my legal brief. Why? I want to do the officer's job for them, okay? You see, one of our goals in working with our clients is that we want to make the asylum officer's life as easy as possible. We want to give them a roadmap for how to get to the answer yes in your case in the easiest way possible. That's why we call this packet, this filing, an asylum roadmap. It's showing the officer how to get to the answer yes in your case. And yeah, it can go a long way in setting the stage, in preconditioning the officer to like you and to like your case, and to go, you know what? Based on the documents in this person's case, I can already see how they meet the requirements. And as long as they show up in their interview and say things that line up with what's in the documents, then yeah, I plan to probably give them asylum. That's what we want to create ahead of time in the officer's mind, okay? We got Jacqueline from says hello, Brian, from Ohio. Nice. Romel Mendoza says, I have a B2 visa. I've been to the U.S. 4 times already. My problem is, where's your question, Romel? I see you say my problem is, but I don't see your question or anything else. Maybe I'll get to it eventually. All right. Danielle says, Rivera says, I don't have 3 years yet, but I'm getting close. All right, man. Call me, Danielle. Go to, when you're about 3 or 4 weeks out from 3 years, go to winasylum.com and schedule a consultation so that we can get started. All right. Good question. Ferris Abu Lebe, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, if your case is dismissed, is there risk for deportation? So they take you to jail or again to the court? Please answer. Good question. So the question is this. After your case gets dismissed from immigration court, are you at risk of getting deported? Are you at risk of getting detained? So listen, under the Biden administration and presumably under a Harris administration, no, you're not at risk of getting deported. To get deported, they would have to put you back into deportation proceedings and have a judge go through the process and give you a deportation order before they would actually like physically force you to leave the country. And that's not going to happen under the Biden administration, and it's almost certainly not going to happen under a Harris administration for people who had their case dismissed. If Trump wins the presidency, it could happen. Yeah, it could happen. Are you going to get put in jail if they come after you? Unlikely, but under a Trump administration, it could happen. It could happen. If you apply for asylum with USCIS after your case is dismissed from court, that makes it less likely that you'll get deported or jailed. Okay. If you're afraid of being harmed in your country and you want to win asylum, you want to stay here, after your case is dismissed from immigration court, you should consider applying for asylum with USCIS. But talk with an asylum lawyer before you do that. It's a little bit tricky. It's complicated. This analysis, this decision of whether to do that can be a bit tough. So you should talk with an asylum lawyer before you decide how to move forward. All right. Marlar in WE says, I also expedited my asylum interview with a very strong humanitarian reason to the San Francisco Asylum Office and didn't get any decision for 2 months. Is that normal? Let me address that. Yeah. So the question is this. How long will it take to get a response when you ask the asylum office to expedite your interview, give you your interview sooner, expedite your case based on urgent humanitarian concerns? So listen, if there's something going on in your life or that of your family members that is like an emergency that might be sort of made better, some problem that might be made better by getting your interview faster and getting your case done, you can ask to expedite your case based on humanitarian concerns. And when you do this, when you make this request, there's no set timeline in which they have to respond. There's no policy around this. Sometimes it's soon. Sometimes you get a letter back in 2 weeks. Sometimes it's 2 months. Sometimes it's 2 years. Sometimes it's never. It's not an effective way to get your interview. They very, very, very rarely say yes. If you've been waiting at least 3 years for your interview, you're much better off suing the government in a mandamus lawsuit. We've been doing this a ton lately, and our clients love it because it works. All right. The mandamus lawsuit is a beautiful thing. It works. Okay. How much, Nagio says, how much does it cost for mandamus in your office? I believe if you just want us to sue the government but not represent you in your actual underlying asylum case, I believe it's $6,500 right now. Our fees are going to go up either in November or December. But right now in October, when I'm making this video, this live, it's $6,500. If you want us to actually represent you in your underlying asylum case, which is to say, do the asylum roadmap that I talked about earlier, working on it, possibly a declaration, for sure more evidence, for sure the legal brief, and then do a mock interview, a full-scale practice interview with you and a follow-up session to give you all of our best tips and then to represent you during the interview. If you want us to do all of that plus sue the government, I believe it's like $10,000. It's like, I think it's $9,900, almost $10,000. But for both of those scenarios, whether it's just the mandamus lawsuit or the mandamus lawsuit plus the full representation in your asylum case, you can get started with an initial payment of, I think it's like $4,000. And I think for the big one, I think it's like $4,500. For just the mandamus lawsuit, I think it's like $3,000 as an initial payment, and then make monthly payments after that. So basically, you don't have to pay the whole thing at once is what I'm saying. You can make an initial payment and then make some monthly payments for some amount of months, okay? Uh, Ali says, I'm an F1 student from Pakistan. I left Islam and criticized it, and there have been rampant killings of these people in Pakistan recently. That's why I've decided to apply. Can you help me? We should talk. We should definitely talk. We've had success with this kind of case, is what I can tell you now. We want to hear more about your situation, Ali, before we can really assess how strong of a case we think you have and how likely we are to be able to, to help you, to give you a really much stronger case. So I wanted to have you talk with one of my teammates. Ali, go to winasylum.com, 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 so that we can talk in detail about your situation, Ali. But I mean, based on what you told me, it sounds like you probably have a viable case, and I'm probably, me or one of my colleagues with whom you talk is probably going to tell you that, yeah, we think that we can help you to increase your chances for success significantly more. I'm guessing, but we need to talk, all right? Sammy A says, how long does it take on average to get a decision issued by USCIS after the interview? What's a reasonable time to wait to sue them? Good question. So the question is, how long does it usually take USCIS to make a decision after your asylum interview? And how long should you wait to sue them, to force them to give it to you if you're not getting it? So it varies, right? Sometimes it's a couple weeks, sometimes it's several months, sometimes it's years. It varies wildly in terms of how long it's going to take you to get your decision. The fact that it's taking a long time does not mean that you're going to lose your case. It doesn't necessarily mean there's any problems or anything bad. It's just the way it is. And there's various reasons. There's multiple reasons for why it takes so long. But the important part is this. You can sue them to force a decision on your interview. And the time that you're looking at in terms of the minimum that you need to have been waiting to have a good chance to have success with this Mandamus lawsuit, it's not the amount of time between the interview and and where you are now. It's the amount of time between when you applied for asylum and now. That's the time frame that matters. When you applied for asylum and right now. If it's been at least 3 years, you're in a good position to force them to give you that decision through the Mandamus lawsuit. Okay? Los Angeles Asylum Office, 5 years is what we're saying right now. Everywhere else in the country, every other asylum office, 3 years. Okay? So again, Sammy, for purposes of Mandamus, of whether you're in a good position to likely have success, it's not how long have you been waiting since your interview. It's just how long has your case been pending total since you applied. If it's been at least 3 years, we should talk. All right. What is the waiting time for the interview if we file asylum in the next couple of weeks? Says Shabazz Khan. Good question. Here's the question. How long is it going to take to get your asylum interview with USCIS if you apply right now? So listen, everyone knows that there's a bunch of people out there who've been waiting for their asylum interview with USCIS for multiple years, 5, 7, 10, 12 years. That's not uncommon to happen. There's lots of people out there like that. But here's the thing. If you apply right now, and we're doing this live in October of 2024. If you apply right now, there's actually a decent chance that you'll get your interview right away, like within a month. We've seen it within a few weeks, actually, recently. It's kind of a long story. It's kind of complicated why it's like this, but the short answer, the short explanation is that because there's fewer people coming to the southern border, that frees up asylum officers to do more asylum interviews instead of having to do credible fear interviews. Now they're doing more asylum interviews. The people that apply right now, they're trying to get them in and prioritize them under their policies and get them interviewed right away. So there's actually a chance that if you apply now, it could be very soon. It might not be. It might not be. It might take several weeks. It might take several months. You might even get into that backlog where it gets to be years. You have to, my thing is, listen, if you're applying for asylum, you got to be psychologically prepared for either outcome. You got to be prepared for the fact that it could be right away, and you got to get ready. You got to put your whole case together within a few weeks, prepare yourself within a few weeks and be ready to do this. Or you got to be psychologically ready for the fact that you might be waiting a very long time. It's tough, but you have to accept it. All right. I want to ask if you can take my case. I'm in New York, says Mohammed. Mulayachim. Sorry for the mispronunciation, Mohammed. Mohammed, listen, we help people all over the country. This is a good question, though. Let's address it like this. The question is this. Can we help people in other states, in other cities, other than where we're based as a law firm? So listen, my law firm is based in Houston, Texas, but we help people all over the country. It doesn't matter where you live, all right? Lots of clients in New York, lots in Florida, lots in California, lots around Chicago, North Carolina, all of this, all right? Thankfully, the way that the rules work, we're able to help people to represent people anywhere in the United States. And we do that. We represent clients all over the country. So if you're interested in trying to give yourself the best possible chance to win your asylum case, whether you've already applied or you're just thinking about applying, whether you're ready to sue the government to force them to give your interview, or you need to prepare and get ready for your immigration court hearings, wherever you are on your asylum journey, if you want to give yourself the best chance to win your case, we should talk. Go to winasylum.com. Winasylum.com. WINASYLUM.com to schedule a consultation. Listen, we used to charge a little under $200 for a consultation with one of our asylum professionals. But right now, in this moment that I'm doing this live show on October 7th, 2024, it's free. We're offering this for free right now. So take advantage of this moment and go ahead and schedule this consultation right now, okay? Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, and schedule a consultation so we can see what's going on, tell you whether we think we can help you, and if so, explain to you exactly what we're going to do, okay? Diakiti Aliou says, I received a mail from USCIS last month saying that my application has been received and is queued for interview. What does that mean? Good question. So the question is this. After you apply for asylum with USCIS, you're going to get a letter that's called a receipt notice that says, hey, okay, thanks. We got your application. It's pending, it has been received and is pending as of X date. You're now sort of in the queue, and the next step is an interview. We'll reach back out to you when it's time for your interview. So what do you make of that? What does that mean? Well, listen, I mean, the good news is they accepted your application. Sometimes when people mess something up on the application, like they forget to sign it or they do something wrong, it gets rejected. It gets sent back to you, and they say, nope, can't accept it. Try again. So the good news is your application is pending, which means your work permit clock starts to tick. Remember, you have to wait 150 days. Your asylum application must be pending, have been accepted at least 150 days with the government before you can apply for your work permit. So your work permit clock, counting those 150 days, has started as of X date listed in the letter. And eventually you're going to have your interview. There's a lot of factors that go into when that interview is going to be. It could be very soon. You could be in the next few weeks, honestly, or it could be months or even years from now, okay? You got to be ready for either scenario. So Naeem Hafizur Rahman says, my asylum application is pending. Well, when I applied, I did not include a cover letter or a statement. Can I send it now while my application is pending? So the question is, after you've already applied for asylum, is it too late to go back later and then send in more documents? Like if you want to now do a declaration, like a personal statement, a narrative, and maybe send in evidence, maybe send in country conditions information. Is it too late to do that after you've already applied? Thankfully, no, it's not. You can send that stuff in really anytime. Well, the letter that you get about your interview notice says you need to send it in like 2 weeks before your interview. They'll accept it up later. As long as it's not like a huge, massive file, that might cause them to reschedule your interview to give them time to review it. But listen, the bottom line is that it's not too late. Yeah, you can still submit your declaration and evidence, and if you have a lawyer, a legal brief, and country conditions information. All right. When someone hires us, we don't send that stuff in with the application. We send the application packet, and then later, as a second step, we send in the asylum roadmap, which is the declaration, evidence, legal brief, and country conditions information. Okay. So we do it separately as a second step. Okay. So no, it's not too late. That's good. All right. That's it for today. I'm Brian Manning. Listen, I'm an asylum lawyer. My law firm helps immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. If you want to talk with us, then I want you to go to schedule a consultation right now. Go to winasylum.com, 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 so we can see what's going on and tell you whether we think we can help you. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and as always, it really is an honor and a pleasure to support you in your asylum journey. Bye, guys. Have a good afternoon, good evening.